But science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, an illusion?
Where you been?
Drunk.
Wendy, darling, light of my life.
What is your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death? Yeah, so fuck up and die.
I'm so sad, dude. That Philip Seymour Hoffman is dead. I'm so sad.
Yeah, bud. Yeah. And I'm like, and his freaking prodigy child isn't as good. he's fine.
His son? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, his son.
His son's pretty good,
son's
but he just
great,
hasn't
but-
been in enough stuff yet. Like he's got
know.
to.
Oh, and he's just so young.
Big
This is
boots.
Philip
That's a big
Seymour
boots.
Hoffman.
Those are big
this
boots.
This is literally Philip Seymour Hoffman fucking trim, baby. He is out there heavyweight champ right now, dude. You have no idea how fucking hard he's going into the paint. Like all the speedballs that are that are like rolling through his brain are giving him the power to act better than any human beings ever acted before.
You heard it here first, kids. Speedballs. If you want to become a good actor, that's officially endorsed by the Cult of Cinema Knowledge podcast. That's Jordan over there.
Yes, dude. Can you sell novelty speedballs with just like baking soda in them or something?
Can we?
That would be great. That would be great merch. Oops. That would be, dude. That'd be awesome.
Head
merch.
over to our Patreon if you want to. We're gonna start giving out Cult of Cinema Knowledge baking soda.
That's
speedballs.
That's a sticker idea. Got to make some speedball stickers.
That's actually good. That's actually pretty good. I like that.
Yeah. No, that'd be pretty funny. But no, in all honesty though, like I'm not saying you should do speedballs, but if it makes you that good of an actor,
okay,
they're not hurting.
Let's clear the record here real quick. He was sober during this movie.
For our lawyers,
he was sober for most of his movies. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Right.
He was.
Because I mean, from the interviews I understand, I don't know when he stopped, but I know he stopped fairly early in his career. And he's like, because I've seen that famous interview with Philip Seymour Hoffman, being like, I'm an addict. You know what I mean? It's like, that's my thing. It's like, if I do anything, I just go full fucking hard. Which makes sense, because, I mean, I feel like he takes that philosophy in every aspect of his life. That's why he's such a good actor. Is because he just, like, gives it 100% of the time. It's weird because it's like, normally I would say he's the best part of every movie he's in. And I think that's almost always true. But it's like, there are some times. Like, The Master, I think he's even with, like Joaquin, right? I think he maybe, tough, but in this movie too, it's just like Meryl Streep, dude. Like I don't know, they're like,
their tit for tat is amazing. I just think in The Master, his like when he sings "Slow Boat to China," so like that. I'm just like, there's nothing. Dude, there's literally nothing.
So
better.
good. It's the best. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me in my life.
Philip Seymour Hoffman is our papa.
It's true.
He's the fourth dad you've never had. And
yeah. So we obviously we're doing just like. Unfortunately, the dearly departed started with David Lynch last week. It kicked it off. You know, he died recently, unfortunately. And then, so now I was thinking, like, you know, Philip Seymour Hoffman is the actor for me that just devastated me when he died 10 years ago, right? About a little over 10 years ago.
I know.
Which is crazy.
Right. It is.
But, I mean, he's been in so many movies and so good. So today, obviously, we watched Doubt, which I had never seen, but it had been on my list. But also, it's like, as far as Philip Seymour Hoffman movies, it just get lost in the shuffle. So I'm kind of glad it won, just because it's like Capote was the other one I really wanted to see, where he's like the lead, right? And that's where he got his nomination for best like main actor, right? And right. I know we'll still see that, but if we didn't do Doubt now, we probably wouldn't have done Doubt ever. And so I'm glad I won. Glad we watched.
Did he win the Oscar for this?
No, I don't know. I don't know. Look it up, because I don't know that he's ever won an Oscar.
Oh, crazy! Really?
I think he's been nominated a bunch. If he did, it was for Capote, because I remember him getting nominated for sure, but I don't think he won. But he definitely got nominated.
Everyone got nominated for this, but
right.
I don't.
Riddle me this then, before we get into the meat and potatoes of this actual movie. I was looking it up because I was like, every performance in this movie, the top main 4 actors were all nominated for acting, and it was also nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay, right? And I looked it up. I was like, who were they against? Because I'm like, how did Meryl Streep not win? It's because she just has too many already, I guess. But But then I was like, who was Philip Seymour Hoffman against that he lost? You know what I mean? And he lost to Heath Ledger for The Dark Knight. And I'm like,
for The Dark Knight.
I'm like, riddle me this: if Heath Ledger did not die, would Philip Seymour Hoffman have that Oscar, or do you think that the Joker performance would have been better as a living? I don't know.
It is. I think
It's
the Joker
incredible.
performance
It's an
just-
incredible performance, but like, I feel like the Academy normally doesn't like do those types of movies. And so I feel like they felt obligated, or maybe not obligated, but like a sense of honor to posthumously like award him the award, right? Because everyone knew it was coming. It's kind of like Chadwick Boseman a couple years ago, but then he didn't win.
Right. I know, yeah.
Which is the funniest thing that ever happened though at the Oscars, because they moved the Best Actor award after Best Picture because they thought he was going to win, and then Anthony Hopkins won, and he didn't even show up.
Oh, that's right. He did like a video Zoom call or something.
No, it was literally like a pre-recorded,
right.
like in case I win or something.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, I don't know, like, because this was the acting in this movie across the board was damn good, especially from our main guy.
It is. No, everybody is
They're all
punching above their weight,
Always.
like phenomenally. And I want to get into it because this movie has like Dinkins, you know.
That was the
attached.
clincher. That was the clincher for me, where
And-
I was like, once I realized that, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm into it now.
But I'm gonna have to be like, he didn't really shine in this.
I disagree.
I'll get there.
But
I'll get there.
it's
No,
not flashy. It's not Blade Runner or something,
think
you know.
that's-
But
Exactly. I think that's my thing. Is like this movie didn't need him attached.
no,
Like,
it looks
you know
as
what I mean?
good
That's
as a
kinda-
period piece in a church can look. But
right.
there's a ceiling on that bitch. You know what I mean? For sure.
I think that's it too. It's like it's like he shot the greatest play ever, but it's like, you know,
Still, yeah, it's still just-
it's like kind of like it's literally like using a machine gun to like open a beer bottle or something.
Yeah,
like,
literally.
it's just like it's like a little more than he needed. But
overkill.
anyways, yeah, exactly.
It is, yeah.
But yeah. So do you want to do a little synopsis on this?
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
last
sure.
week, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll do it. I'll do it. So, Doubt it takes place at a Catholic school in like Boston or somewhere.
In the Bronx.
Is it the Bronx?
Yes.
Okay, I mean they got the accent.
New York City.
The father. I don't remember any of their names, but so I'm gonna just probably refer to them as the actor names. But
Flynn, Brendan Flynn. But,
all right, Father Philip Seymour Hoffman.
right.
is-
It really.
He's been at this congregation for a short period of time, but he's taking a gleaning to this young black child that's the only black kid in the whole school, and he's new there. And this is
the first black kid to
this
come
is like
in.
the 60s, so it's like he's like taking a shine to him like a little bit, and then you got the cranky old nun that's the principal of the school, played by Meryl Streep, Sister Meryl Streep.
She's like the classic, like wax your knuckles. With
100%.
You know, the yardstick style.
I forgot it was Meryl Streep because she just became the old cranky nun.
Yeah.
She absolutely crushed it. And then Amy Adams is the more young, naive nun. She's a teacher there, and she's kind of the more, wants to believe that there's good, right? And then fuck, why am I forgetting? Anyway, she'll come up later. But the Meryl Streep starts to suspect that there's something up with Philip Seymour Hoffman's character. That he might be diddling kids, like as it's. And I'm glad someone's looking out, because I feel like, when we talked about Conclave,
I know we'll get into Conclave a little bit, but let's just get through the synopsis.
Yeah. She's getting a little sus from just little things, and it's like how he's just so friendly, and some of the kids, one kid specifically, like William something, that little blonde kid, is not about it. Like, he's like, do not touch me, and that's kind of what sends her going down this, like, kind of being extra observant. So throughout the movie, she ends up like confiding, well, not confiding, but like she plants her suspicions into the younger nun, right, into Amy Adams, And Amy Adams starts noticing stuff that's like suspicious. Like she sees him putting back that young boy's shirt in his locker. She sees that kid come back with alcohol smelling on his breath after going away to the rectory for a private meeting, which is like kind of a no-no. And all these kind of signs. And so she brings it to Meryl Streep, and she's like, I fucking knew he was a goddamn diddler or whatever. She didn't say that because she's a nun, but you know.
But basically.
And so they confront him in his office, but they try to make it seem about something else, about the play that's going to happen or something. But then it gets around getting to the subject, and he's like, you don't want to go down this road. And they're like, no, something is inappropriate. Like, what is it? I want you to tell us what's up, you know. And he has an excuse that the kid drank the wine on his own because he's feeling the pressure and so on and so forth. And Amy Adams is like, okay, great. And so, you know, she's trying to fit in all the while. She's being harsher on her kids a little bit because that's, you know, the other, you know, Meryl Streep's character is like, that's what you need, but it's not her. There's a couple times where it's like, she's harsh, but it's not her.
I think she's being harsher on her students because she's nervous about them. She doesn't feel completely, you know, convinced.
Well, right.
That
The movie is called fucking Doubt, and it's great because it's like,
I know, right.
Even though there is like a lot of it's circumstantial, and he has an excuse for a lot of it, and it's like everyone has their doubts about like, is there guilt? Is there something going on? So eventually, you know, Meryl Streep brings in that kid's mom, played by what's her name? Viola Davis. That's right.
Viola Davis.
And she came in for like one scene and absolutely crushed it. She got an Oscar nom too. And,
I know she got an Oscar nom for like, dude. I
like
know
2
what
minutes.
that made me do.
2 minutes of screen time.
I didn't find hard numbers on it, but I need to go look up who's won an Oscar for the least amount of film time. And I think I know it's Anthony Hopkins for Silence of the Lambs. I think if I remember
that
correctly,
tracks.
that was like at one point that was the nom that one. And anyways, because she was in it, she got a nomination, and she literally is in this movie for like 6 minutes. It's crazy.
Yeah, if that. But I mean,
maybe
obviously she crushed it. Oh, I don't think she was 12 minutes. It was probably like 6.
Yeah.
But anyway, she is like, you know, it is what it is. I think my son is gay, and he's just struggling anyway. Like, it's just let it be.
There's violence at the home.
There's violence at home.
She just wants
like, let's just get through.
She wants him to get through this so he can go to college.
It's a good school.
Like,
let's renown. He's the only black kid there. Like, let's just fucking let's not add on to it, because obviously, at the end of the day, he's the one that's going to get punished, probably. You know, as we know, historically, that's usually what happens. And so, but, you know, Meryl Streep says, fuck it, and she confronts, he comes to her, and he's like, why was his mom here? We need to fucking talk this out. And then they act their asses off at each other, and she's like, I know you son of a bitch. I called around all your old precincts and blah, 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 and I knew you're a goddamn diddler and all that. And he's like, you don't know shit, but whatever. She gets him to resign, to which he does, but he gets promoted and moved to another church, as is the course. Par for the course.
Right, that ending's just like brutal, dude.
It's really brutal. But and then she's like, yeah, I lied, and I know that's a sin. I mean, nuns don't lie. They're certainly not supposed to. And you know, and she doesn't feel bad about the lie. Like, she feels like it was like she did what was, because she does make a whole point about, like, you know, we sometimes have to sin for the greater good, and you have to
like you have to stray from God sometimes to do the right thing, and that's
in service of God. That's like our burden to bear, right? And so, but then she's like, you know, I still have my doubt. Like, you know, I'm not 100% because I can never be 100% about something like that. You know, and that's how it kind of around. I mean, it's everyone's got their doubts, buddy, about one thing or another.
This movie just nails subtext like
so good.
Like no other, dude. Yeah, I definitely like this. Is like you, and this is the first time I've watched this, and it's been on my list forever since it came out.
Yeah,
but it was like that. I don't know why. I think it's because every time I think about I didn't know it was a period piece, so I thought it was like of the of like
2008 or whatever,
or 2008, yeah, in that time period. I mean, every like decade there's some scandal about the church, but anyways, it's like I thought it was more contemporary, and so I don't know. I was like, what, how good is this going to be? What is it going to be? And then when as I watched it, I was like, oh, this is cool. And it's funny enough, I was like, this feels like a play. It's so, I was like, oh, to find out that it was. I'm like, I probably knew that, like, just, tentatively through this movie coming out and through living through this film. But watching it, I was like, oh, this is cool. It's like, it's certain sets for them to like act their pantses off. But that's where like Dinkins comes, like, he totally, I always say his name wrong, but whatever. He really fucking, like, it's just such simple blocking, and that's something we talk about a lot here on this pod. And like the blocking is so beautiful that like it really does take like, a master cinematographer to kind of be simple but so dynamic. And I love how simple the blocking is. And like when I was watching it, I was like, dude, there's only like 2 tracking shots in this whole movie.
Oh yeah.
It's like when they're outside, that's it. Like when they're walking together to her work, like with, Viola Davis, it's like that's pretty much it. The rest of it is shot like stagnant, like shot on sticks. And it's great.
Because it really, I did think it was really good for like, I agree. It's like nearly invisible to like let these people do their things and just look as good as fucking possible while doing it. Like you said, the blocking in with the editing is like imperceptible. Like it's just so fucking beautiful.
So I have to gush for a minute, or biased. Like, you don't have to like wholeheartedly agree with me, but I'm sure you kind of do agree with me that like film just is so good. Like, it's almost like I can't be like I'm not just going to be disparaging to plays, but like even the dude, what's his name, Shanigan or whatever, what's the John Patrick Shanley. He even said in a great interview, he's like, you can do so much more with film than you can in a play.
100%.
He's like both have their strengths, but like in a film, he's like, this movie brought his play to life. Like it really, like he's like, there's so many. It's the subtleties that you get in film.
Oh, 100%.
And it's amazing, dude.
Yeah, well, because it's like the subtleties, the things that you can show in close-ups. Because it's like I love plays because it's an emphasis on acting and writing, which I think are, depending on what you're trying to do, are some of the most impactful elements of the art form to me. Right. But like
the writing can,
having the music, having the options for cinematography to be able to like, what does the shot convey about this emotion, and like using a close-up to get like subtle, more facial like performances, and like with editing.
I gotta go to bat for film because the scene, which is my favorite scene. Like everyone, I was looking online, and everyone said like the climax is like the great, it's like one of the best, and it is. I mean, obviously it's like amazing. The confrontation between them, they really are like.
When she's gonna like stab him with the cross, almost like she's fucking goes.
Yeah. Right. Like it's like it's so like violent but reserved. It's like, and it's both of them, doing the craft perfectly. But I personally think the stronger scene is the first confrontation when it's the 3 of them, and it's the 3 like main characters, and
the phone starts ringing and everything.
The phone's ringing, but dude, the sugar, even like all of Meryl Streep's her judgments of his character,
dude, so
every step of the way,
just disdain,
dude. Holy crap! I was like, and it's so great because that's where it sows the most.
She's like,
doubt
let
for
me
the
find
viewer.
the sugars, and like.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
and
when
like,
Amy Adams later is literally like, you just don't like him because of this, and this. Like, you think he's too progressive.
Right.
He likes Frosty the Snowman, and he likes sugar, and like, And it's like,
right,
that's probably partially true. Like, it's a bias for her, for sure,
It is, yeah. And she kind of admits it too, obviously, with the ending where she's like, oh, I have doubts. But, like, even her being like, you just know, she's like, it's his character. I can, like, you just know people, and it's like, you're supposed to, like, side with Meryl Streep through this whole movie. But you're supposed to have your doubt. You're supposed to be like, I don't know. Like Philip Seymour Hoffman's so convincing, but like there's too much. That's what's great about film. There's too much subtext with all the like visions. Like there's a time when like Philip Seymour Hoffman is walking through the halls and he looks up and there's the stained glass window of like the eye of God or whatever, It's just got like an eye in it watching him. And you're like, that bitch is so guilty. Like, it's like, that's early on in the movie. And you're like, he's guilty.
No, yeah, he definitely is. But it's just like, it still does like, is like someone like, I'm trying to become a teacher, right? And so it's like, it's sad to see that there's an automatic suspicion on like overly friendly men with kids like in an authority figure, but like also like in a parental like advisory role. But then it's just like obviously there's abuse happening there. You know what I mean? But it's like
Of course, but I know it's because I love the inciting incident to give Meryl Streep the suspicion is he sees that kid in a very like inappropriate private setting, and so it's just like immediate. That's the tip off where it's like, oh, you're not supposed to do this. Like he called him down in an inappropriate time too.
Yeah.
It's not like it's there was no reason for him to go to the rectory.
The thing that she says sets him off is that blonde kid who no one ever focuses on, but he was 100% abused. Probably by him, but we don't know for sure. But yeah, like he yanks his hands away when he's like, let me see those dirty nails, and he yanks his hands away. That's what first sets off her suspicions is his body language towards him. Because she says that.
You're right.
And my wife, is a therapist, and she was literally like, I have no proof, but like my gut reaction, I can fucking read people, and the way he treats him, it's like there's something there, and like about how weird he is about his cleanliness,
Yeah, that's right. Even Meryl Streep brought that up at the end when she's like, "I saw you grab his wrist," and he pulled his wrist away.
Well, and he smiles at the end when he's leaving, and it's like I think he does give himself like he's acting out because of fucking abuse, man. He's got it, or like in his past at least. But it's brutal. I don't know. It's
and that makes it tragic too. Yeah. When Meryl Streep's like, oh, that kid is squirrely, like he's gonna try to leave school as much as possible, and it's like, oh,
he does. Yeah. And they're like talking about how he gave himself a bloody nose, and then it's like, but when he leaves with the bloody nose, he is like excited to leave. He's like happy that he's leaving. So I'm like, he very well might have, man. He fucking hates it there.
I know.
For one reason or another, but the way he fucking
and that's
scowls.
That's what's great about this film is like you're not supposed to know. Like that's you know, I knew it was going to be like that. Like through the whole thing, like I had I was just like, oh, they're definitely going to be like, it's not going to be like he's not going to confess essentially,
right.
But his like him running away is a mission of guilt,
pretty much. And like she calls him in the lie, like he wouldn't have left if it wasn't have been a lie, you know what I mean? Which is true.
Right.
Like he's got something in his past for sure, but
he immediately
but it's
gives
all
it up
ambiguous.
When she says, "I'm gonna," she's like, "If you don't stop me when I leave this room, I'm going. I will prove you.
I will keep going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll keep going, and I'll like definitively prove it until you're nothing, and blow this up, make it a scandal.
Yeah.
And so he knows that he's like, oh, my only defense is like to bring her back, not admit it, but that was kind of best case scenario for him because now his reputation is tarnished, and it's like, oh, it's such a bummer, dude. And it's so funny because making this movie a period piece kind of like gives it the idea that this is the past, and that's where Conclave should have had more this PG ass movie.
I know.
More, like, because this movie Doubt does a fantastic job.
What's Doubt rated?
Talking about,
I wonder.
It's got to be PG-13. Yeah, it's PG-13.
Just from like the context though, but it's just like there's nothing.
I know now.
Just the
now
subject
I can't
matter,
but
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And I wonder if Meryl Streep or Philip Seymour have been in a movie rated less than PG-13.
Oh, I'm sure Meryl Streep's been in
maybe
kid
Meryl
movies.
Streep.
Yeah, she's been in kid
Yeah,
movies.
probably, yeah. But Philip Seymour Hoffman, probably not.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyways, yeah, Conclave. The fact that I'm like Conclave, come on, bud, you could have done better. Like,
I
this
know.
movie does
This
such a good job
made
at
me
tackling
like Conclave less. Like I liked Conclave.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But
yeah.
And they're not like that comparable of movies. They're completely different subject matters, but like just like this, like, the gossip that goes around and the rumors that spread around these like inner circles of like faith and like within the church
and the hierarchy.
Oh yeah, and the
that
hierarchy.
Exists. Like he's like, oh, you're breaking protocol basically. Dude. Like, he's like, you're supposed to go to like, you're supposed to go to me and then the next guy and the next guy, and then that proves me, that I'm safe in the system because I know how to game the system.
Yeah.
And it's like, Conclave doesn't even come close to touching that. but clearly Conclave's like its own. I liked that movie. So it's like
you'll listen to that episode. This is definitely a different monster for sure, but it's just like
But this is so like intimate to use
Yeah.
lack of a better
and
term.
it's still, it's like, yeah, you say, like you said, it's a period piece, but like, it's still this, you're like, it's trying to
Yeah,
say this,
that's what's so
this happened in
frustrating.
the 60s, and then then Spotlight and Mark Ruffalo came along and blew the fucking doors open. It's like, no, and it fucking doesn't matter. It still happens every goddamn day. But yeah, I don't know, man, this movie. So I was thinking, just a random thought, thinking about Deakins before we drop him entirely off the seat. So the thing I thought was an interesting choice of his, is the use of Dutch angles. There are a lot of Dutch angles in this.
There's a lot of Dutch angles. I noticed. Yeah.
Especially during like the tension scenes, which normally feel like kind of like I don't want to say cheap, but like it's definitely like something's afoot. You know what I mean? Like when a Dutch angle, like I'll never get over just Sam Raimi, just like everything's like, look how fucking mysterious everything is. Anyway, but like, especially when there's like tension and drama, like everything's very rigid, and then it's just like these Dutch angles when they're like getting into it at each other. And I'm like, I do feel like that is him being like, God, we're just shooting these four walls, man. Let me just fucking just mix it up a bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, four reels.
Because it is. They did stand out, and they worked. But yeah, knowing it's Deakins too, being like, I definitely feel like he's just like, I got to put a little zhuzh in it, just a little pizzazz. I can't get too crazy, but like when they're getting wiggity whack and all upset, let's pop a Dutchie on it, That's
the one Dutch that bothered me was like, she comes back from when she's with Viola Davis, and like she comes like through the doors, and there's like this drastic Dutch angle, and I was kind of like, "Oh, bud, I'm falling off the face of the earth here, man. Like, what's happening, buddy?" But yeah. So yeah, I mean, I know it is funny. It's like 1917 or something, where it's like he gave himself a heart attack in that movie, like because how he shot it, and it like looks. It's just one of those things. It is like that, where you're like Blade Runner, where you're like it's hard because he usually shoots these huge bombastic films, and so. I guess he's done some small ones. Didn't he do My Left Foot? Too?
Oh yeah, he's done a lot of shit you probably wouldn't expect.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Especially back in like the 90s and shit. But it doesn't matter. Whatever he does is just great. You never either he's invisible or he's just like, look at this fucking beautiful canvas in motion, moving pictures. Fucking beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing.
He's a light wizard, though. That's the thing.
He's a light wizard. It's light and color for him, and then film placement and film movement, and he's a master at it. It's beautiful. This is one of the most beautiful looking, just basic gray period pieces. Like that's actually one thing I noticed is like I loved how muted all the colors were. Like just compared to Conclave, where it's like this is like it's supposed to show this is a very simple, small, poor, technically, I guess, kind of
right, yeah,
sure, church.
Yeah, but
it's kind of cool that it is a Sunday school, and apparently this is autobiographical, sort of, and so
I mean that makes sense.
There was he went to this school. That's like the school that he shot in the Bronx, where they did this movie. That is the school he actually went to.
Cool.
It was like a Catholic school, and I think a priest did leave or something. There was a scandal, but nothing.
Well, yeah, everything's rumors, and I think that's what's kind of great because it's like everything is just kind of rumors, and it's like there's obviously there's the hierarchy and the power balance, like the drastic cut of him and the other like cardinals or whatever the fuck they are, bishops, having a grand old time at dinner, and then it cuts to all the nuns just silent,
dude. That's actually something I really loved, where it's like. Because in like, I mean, Conclave is just the closest thing we've watched anywhere similar to that. But even just the dynamic, like if you took this, out of the context of like, religion necessarily, but it just like it was really cool to see just the difference between the power struggle like that. It's like the nuns they're supposed to be even more pious and reserved, and it's like where they're like that's the like. Abuse of power is like they're the bishop and shit is supposed to be like they're supposed to be quote unquote like good but they're drinking and smoking and shooting
having a grand old time. You know what I think's interesting though that I was thinking about is so fucking Meryl Streep gets on this like just righteous high horse, right? About getting him gone, and it comes between like her being in control and having duty. But it's interesting that it's just like it's not really about protecting the kids, though. Like, she doesn't talk to that kid one time, and even when they talk about like, oh, he's devastated, and she's like, can't be helped. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't. Like, I don't know. I feel like it is more about just like he's an evil, and we need to cut him out, which is vindicated. That's true. But it's just like he just goes on to do it at some other place, and that's fine. She doesn't give a fuck about that. It's about like what her school is like, and it's not even like I'm looking out for the kids. It's like I need to cut out this rot out of my school.
Right. I think she's very protective of that.
But it's the institution and not like the children. Like, I feel like she doesn't really actually give that much of a fuck about the children, because obviously she's kind of a fucking evil monster to them, kind of slightly as well. But she's definitely, and it's not like that. She just doesn't care.
Well,
that's not
that's
her
what's
focus.
greatest. No,
It's
exactly.
not her
She's
focus.
not. Whatever.
She's not like a hero. It's not at the end like
uncompassionate or whatever. Like she has great compassion. Like she clearly, and that's what's great in this movie is there's so many little tiny things. There's like, well, I mean, her helping the old lady with the fork is really
that's good.
It's like that's a subtle compassion. And then there's another thing she did that was good for the kid, and I can't remember what it was. It was a great line because Amy Adams was like, "Oh, like you're so rude," and she's like, "No, I was doing that to help him." Like it was something that like this is like something he will learn later. I can't remember. It was another like a little thing where I like noticed. I was like, okay, cool. She does care. Oh, and then her listening to the confiscated radio was pretty. That was pretty good. That was great. That was a little humanizing where you're like,
and it was a good character moment too. She's talking about like my husband when he was in the war and he died, and it's like you kind of get a
right. She had a life before this, so you kind of like
get a little bit of characterization there, because like you really don't get characterization other than like I like it when you can feel the characters just being who they are and like going through their motions without having like a huge, like a lot of movies think that like, oh, I need to have a big exposition dump about my background in order to have good characterization. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that if done right. But it's like this movie, it's like you don't really know their backgrounds very much. And that's like a small snippet you get of it. And it comes very naturally, which is like just good ass writing. Because it's like the more of the characterization comes from, like, for example, probably my favorite scene of the movie, other than like the big, with all the three of them in the offices both times are like arguably the best scenes, right? But when that kid gets sent away because Amy Adams is trying to be a little bit more tougher because she feels like the other nuns are like, you're getting walked on or whatever. And they send the kid to the office and she's like, what are you doing here? And I was talking, well, shut up and go back to class. But then
that's so good.
He goes back to class and Amy Adams like screams at that kid and he's like about to cry and he's like, I'm sorry. And then she's about to cry because she's like, I'm sorry. Like, cause like, this isn't me. You know what I mean? It's like, and that is such a good character moment because it's just like, that's not who she is. She's soft. She's sweet. And like, maybe that makes her naive, but she's like trying to be more stern and like she's taking a cue from Meryl Streep's character who's way more fucking just like unforgiving when it comes to that shit. But it's like, once she snaps at him, she's just like immediately doesn't feel it. And then she doesn't do it again in the movie, which is great because it's like that says a lot about her character. This like, a realization. It's like, that's not who I am. I'm not the nun to crack your knuckles. I like Frosty the Snowman. It's fine. Like,
some secular music. It's pretty dope, man.
I know
the shit that's on the radio.
Me and Mary were cracking up when she was talking shit about Frosty the Snowman. It was just like, it's fucking, what is she like? It's like wicked.
Satanic.
Yeah, satanic. They like they put a relic on him and bring him to life.
It's like when he wears the hat. It's like, it's great. Yeah, but dude, I can't like, I don't know, man. It's one of those movies where I'm like, I want to watch that scene again with them drinking tea because that is blocking 101. Like if you want like that, like 12 Angry Men and then that tea scene are amazing. It's wild. The whole time I was watching it, I was just like, go, God, they're like going everywhere. And it's just like, it's like the interrogation, and it's so cool because it's like a classic interrogation where she like flips the blinds open and he's like blasted with the
so
light,
good.
and he's
It's all the
and
passive
the power
aggressive
dynamic too,
Yeah.
because that's her office.
I know, and her
so
look
when
on
they
her
show up,
face when he
sits
in her
down
seat.
at the head chair, and she just like straight up just like, this bitch, man, you freaking taking my chair. I'll choke you out, but
I'll blind you
know,
out of here is what it is.
I know, right. She's like, oh, and she just her dialogue to trick him into it, where like he's just like, leave this be, and how she's like I won't, it's like she's like I believe in God, but like, I'm a human first, essentially. But anyways, what this movie also gave me thought, because the only other great religious film, which I guess is Silence too, but First Reformed, where like I'm just like I can't not, because First Reformed is like the greatest because that is an anti-religious, where like this film is made with like the open eyes of like the glaring, the glaring issues with the Catholic Church.
Well, this
but
movie
still,
doesn't
like,
really
it's still
grapple with faith.
Religious.
Well,
like,
right, it doesn't really grapple with faith
But-
so much as it grapples with like
Yeah.
the problems within that institution. There's never a moment where it's like,
He
Amy
wraps
Adams
himself in
finds a
barbed wire.
turtle.
Oh yeah,
We're
the
going
turtle.
That's
Dude,
the
I just
spectrum.
Philip Seymour Hoffman like wraps himself in barbed wire.
That's what I want to see, man.
That's so beautiful.
On the
Dude,
one end of the spectrum, you got Ralph Fiennes finding a turtle, and then in the middle you got this movie, and then on the other end you got Ethan Hawke wrapped in barbed wire.
Yeah, like dude, that like just the cup of Drano
Oh my God,
just
that's
on the
so
table. Dude, the movie's amazing. That movie's so good.
It's so good. I know. I got into it. Landon, I hope Landon's listening. I know they listen to it sometimes. Kindly, Landon, if you do, I love you. But Landon, he was like, hey, yeah, you got really good taste. Like, I forget what it was. I suggested him a movie, and he was like, tell me about this movie, like, because you have a really good taste in movies, and you never steered me wrong, except for First Reformed. That movie was fucking dumb.
He didn't like First Reformed.
I was like, you just don't get it, man. Anyway.
No, dude, that's the first cow of religious films, dude. That's like
It's
such
true.
a good movie.
I can understand if you don't like First Reformed, but you're incorrect.
I know, right? We're edgelords, so we love we love like we love stuff that's just brutal.
Yeah, honestly, if this movie would have just had Philip Seymour Hoffman, like, because I honestly kind of did think for a minute, mind, when he opens up, like at the end when he's like finally like defeated, and he opens up his Bible and it's got the flowers in it, and I'm like, that's nice. I was like, he's gonna fucking blow his brains out. You know what I mean?
No, dude,
like
I had the exact same thought, that he wasn't going to kill himself in that immediate scene, but he was going to leave the book there for her, and then they were going to find him hung in his room or something like
something
that.
Like that.
They were
Yeah,
gonna,
something like
they were
that.
going to find him, he killed himself, because that's totally the vibe I got. Where it's like, because he was totally like, he was defeated, and so you just like, and it's kind of one of those things where you're like, I guess I'm almost like, I was almost rooting for that, not necessarily like for him.
You were rooting for the
commit
barbed
suicide.
wire. I know.
No, I'm not. But yeah, right, exactly, yeah. But I was kind of rooting for like him to truly get like justice, Yeah. But then when he gets moved, I was
gets
like,
promoted,
oh my God,
even,
that's so perfect.
yeah.
That's so perfect, yeah. Because I love how she says like, oh, he's moved here, and then he's this, and that's a promotion. I'm like, oh, brutal.
It's on brand.
Classic,
Yeah.
dude. Classic. I was like, good. That makes me happy. Like that's,
Yeah.
like,
and it's
that's
still
where
a
I'm
victory
like, okay.
for her, though. Even if she's got her doubts, because that's what's nice. It's like it's these, I find nuns to be sort of fascinating, because it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man, because like I see priests, and I mean I know this is maybe a controversial take, but I see priests and I think that they're scum generally.
I mean, anyone with absolute power will corrupt absolutely.
Yeah,
Like, it's like, yeah.
exactly. Where they're like they're in positions of power and they rise to these positions, and it's usually they're not good people, right? For one reason, I mean, not to say that there's not plenty of good priests out there, but whatever.
Sure, of course.
Sure.
Individually, there's great police, but
Yeah,
They-
exactly.
you know?
Yeah, you
Right.
know. But nuns, and it shows it in this movie, and I mean, fucking, we keep talking about goddamn Conclave. It shows it in Conclave with the nuns in Conclave, which also was like piquing my mind. I want to watch more nun movies, just in general.
no,
but
dude,
it's just
the
like
nun, dude.
they
That movie's-
they really are just like in such service, which is such an interesting thing because obviously it's like an old school like sexist hierarchy thing that like the women are meant to serve.
Oh, I know.
Obviously,
yeah, right.
but like it's just fascinating to watch. Like especially what's like I said earlier in this stood out where it's like the three dudes at the table, they're having a grand old time, smoking, having dinner, and the nuns are just absolute. And that's the thing. It's like everything in their life. Like Philip Seymour Hoffman, he's playing basketball. He's like molesting kids. Like he's doing all this other stuff.
Right.
Where
yeah.
it's like the nuns, that's it, dude. That's all they do. That's their entire lives is this devout.
They barely like suck on a lozenge, dude. They like never.
They're more
they
like
don't even like they're not supposed to do anything.
I know they're more like monks, right? Which like obviously you don't really have in like these religions. I mean, we're not huge religious experts, but like in Christianity and Catholicism and stuff, you don't really have that. But they are like these quiet service to God, devout, like fucking frightening sometimes women that I do find fascinating as like, you know, a position of character. Like I don't know what I mean.
That would be cool to see more of that. Yeah, their moral compass feels more aligned with like the teachings,
like
I guess,
actually,
if you will. You know, and it might be because of like the oppression they're faced.
Yeah,
just in that.
Honestly,
because
they even say, you know, she's like, I'm the head of this, but he's my leader, and then so on and so on and so on, and like talks about the chain, like she really is, even though she's the principal of the school, and that gives her like this power, but it's more like for her, it's not a power, it's a responsibility, and is more maybe like more of a burden. You know what I mean?
I mean, it literally just goes to show that like. I don't know, not to be
power
third wave
feminist, but like men are just the worst.
But men suck. Yeah. Men's like
they're creeps.
Men, like whatever like our prostate does, just like ruins the world. And so like I'm like if we could flip the script, not to be
I know that's what I was kind of saying earlier because it's just like it's sad to assume. But like the priest is like, that he's like being a pedophile towards this kid, but it's like he almost certainly is. And so it's a bummer that it's like you can't really have, and I don't know if it's just dudes making a bad name, but it's so hard to have like these like male figures. You got Boy Scout leaders, and I'm sure there's a lot of dudes. Like I know a lot of dudes that went in Boy Scouts and stuff and were like, I had a great Boy Scout leader. He was super inspirational to me. And it's like we've had teachers that have been like really inspirational to us, but it's just like, it's hard to have that position be so corrupted, though.
And there's no absolute either, too. It's not like every man has that like desire to
obviously.
But clearly, but I'm trying to like solidify your point where it does suck that this is like
there's so much more of a stigma on it, but like rightfully so.
Right.
Like there's so much of it that it's crazy. It sucks that there is such that stigma, but it sucks that there has to be. You know what I mean? That it's just like.
Oh, dude.
A dude can't just
do we have enough time?
Well, I mean,
to
like,
talk about that?
I go out in public with my kids, and it's just me and my kids, and I'm playing with my kids, and I look like I mean, if you're on the YouTube, you could see me. Like, I got, like, tattoos and stuff, and I look like I live in my car sometimes. And I swear to God, like, I get looks that are like, should I contact the authorities?
Are these kids here?
Are they his?
Or?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, I get it.
Well, especially when you're like, grabbing one by the leg and
I know
the other one.
Well, I know today Emmeline wasn't listening to me at school, and like all the other parents were around. I was like, Emmeline, you get over here right now. just kidding. I was like, please listen to me, please.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, she thinks you're a doo-doo head, dude, for sure.
Yeah, well, she definitely called me a butt munch or something earlier. I'm pretty sure.
Rightfully so.
Anyway, so I'm pretty sure this movie made no money, right? Like, how much money did this movie make?
No, I mean, actually, yeah, pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, it's funny they do joke about that. Like, who wants to come see like, in the world of blockbusters, who's going to come watch like to like a nun?
I think that's why this
to a priest,
got lost in the shuffle because I remember when it came out, and then every time it comes up, it only comes up in retrospect to like great actors, right? Because it's got a small cast, but a great cast, right? Obviously, we watched it for the old PSH, and every time I'm like, oh yeah, Doubt. Oh yeah, that movie. Yeah. I forgot about that movie. I should watch that one day. But then it's just like immediately forgetting again. So, but yeah. So money
minute wise, it was $20 million to produce, which seems fair. That seems totally. It's like I don't think Miramax does movies over like 50 million. So, anyways, but it's a simple little budget, and it made 52 million.
Oh, that's not bad.
So
that's pretty good.
For
Double
what that
double
turnover is.
double its money.
Right, yeah, and like for this kind of movie, that's totally like what I would expect.
I would
Clearly.
be floored if it's like it made 100 million.
Yeah.
Like it's not that kind of movie. It's not trying to be that kind of movie.
No,
it's literally
right.
a complex movie about doubt and about like
It's a very like appropriate adult film. That's where it's like that's where I'm like watching this movie. I'm like, oh, Conclave like really is PG-13 or PG. Like I totally I get that where it's like it is a little bit more accessible for a family.
It is,
so,
and since it's painted more like a thriller because like this movie. Edged into thriller, especially with them Dutch angles and stuff. But it could have went
right.
It, like depending on how it was directed.
The interrogations,
it could have went hard like with the score and stuff, but it didn't. This stayed.
Oh, dude,
this stayed firmly.
I love that. No score, dude.
Yeah,
like
it stayed
all the intense scenes.
Firmly drama, hard capital D drama, grown up movie, like you say.
Yeah,
which is great. Let's see what our old pal. Clones of People 2 has to say about this movie. I haven't read it yet, or have yet to comment. I gotta go comment on the Reddit. We suck.
Yeah, we're coming for you.
We're coming. You better watch out. By the time you listen to this, there'll be a comment. Anyway, he says, he said, hold on. I'm having a stroke. First watch. I knew of this, but it was never really high up on my watch list. I have to say though that I quite liked it, and it's a film that will stay with me. There's a lot to digest from the characters and the topics, and it made me a bit angry at the Catholic Church, too. The acting is phenomenal, especially Streep and Hoffman, and they bring such depth and nuance to these characters. The dialogue is really well written, but these two did such an amazing job bringing them to life. The film is so Miramax-y. I think you'll know what I mean. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Totally.
Character-driven drama, sentimental score, award-bait themes. I'm not saying it's bad. This feels very much like a blueprinted film. Did either of you go back to the scene where Streep refers to which boy recoiled from Hoffman? I don't normally need to go back to rewatch a part of the film, but this gives me more to chew on. Spoilers, it's very ambiguous, haha. Anyway, solid 8 out of 10, an engaging film, superbly acted, and one that gave me a lot to think about. Thanks for that. Yeah, no, that boy
thanks for commenting.
really stood out to me, and it's just like, and I think it maybe would have anyway, but definitely because my wife like immediately like her job is to pick up on like kids who are in abuse and shit like that, being a social worker.
Well, I think that it also got kind of overshadowed by the fact that he recoiled, but then when he went to talk to Amy Adams' character, he touched her and then got like in trouble for that.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's just like that was
him
the bigger scene.
Yeah, another scene that she brought up to me, and we were talking about it as it happened, when he's going around showing his long nails to all the kids in the room. Yeah. Like
that's so creepy.
It's very creepy.
It's creepy. It's creepy out of even if he didn't diddle kids, it's very creepy.
It's kind of creepy the way he does it, and it's just I don't know, something about Philip Seymour Hoffman. He's just got like a certain stature to him, that.
The greatest dude. I love his silhouette. I would kiss his silhouette.
I would.
It's so good.
So good. But no, Mary, my wife, she even said, because I noticed that when he's like, we got to keep good hygiene, he's like lecturing them on hygiene, and it cuts to that kid when he's like saying it, like specifically talking about hygiene. And I was like, huh. And Mary's like, yeah, that makes sense because kids that are getting sexually abused will often have let themselves have poor hygiene so that they're not as much of a target anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, shit, because she kept bringing it up with that kid specifically because obviously it kept focusing on him.
Whoa.
And then at the end, he's smiling because the black kid's crying because he hasn't gotten to that part yet. He's just got to the bonding part, hopefully, right? We don't know how far it's gone.
Right, exactly.
But like he's
sharing
devastated
wine,
he's devastated that he's leaving because he found like another kindred spirit who also like it's alluded possible like homosexuality too, that it's like he's alluded and he doesn't understand he's a child and he's a grown man. That's not okay, but
no,
he obviously connects with him and manipulates him that way though,
finding
right?
that connection. Yeah.
But the other kid, that blonde kid, is just delighted that he's leaving. You know what I mean? And so it's like the whole time I was like, there's this like that's story
that I was
I was very aware of it, and I don't know if it's just because my wife kept pointing it out, but like that's a side story of he's definitely a victim that like doesn't ever get talked about, and it's like kind of sad that he's like that they never focus on him, and if the film didn't like show him, then he would be completely like forgotten and unessential at all. You know what I mean? But that's what's so interesting. Yeah. Good filmmaking that it is using that subtext unsaid, because like there's not a bit of dialogue other than she says, you know, the bloody nose thing, and then like at the end when he's like, I saw the way he recoiled when you touched him. You know what I mean? Is basically what she says, and that's all I needed to know, because she's got instincts, you know.
Yeah, instinct. That's a good term for it. It's like that. Like because I mean she's been doing this for, I guess 40 years, or not 40, but like maybe 30. Well, no, like 20-something years.
20-something, yeah. Because
during World War II is when her husband died.
Yeah, and this is like mid-60s.
This is 64. Yeah. It's 64, I think. It's like the year after.
Yeah, because they're talking about
Kennedy's
JFK.
assassination. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, no, this movie, yeah, it's just a good big kid movie. I really like this movie quite a lot.
It is. Yeah, this is very like.
It's had the
this could be rated
director,
R, honestly, just for its, you know, drama
right?
majority, but.
For sure. I mean, that's what we used to talk about. Well, like There Will Be Blood. It's like any other movie with that would be rated PG-13. It's got like a little bit of violence, but it's a movie firmly for grown-ups, and I'm glad my wife really liked it, because it's like, and I guess that's where it comes. It's like comparing that to something like last week where we watched Lost Highway. She's not into like surreal, symbolic films, but she is really into, and I agree, I'm into both. I like all movies and all art, right? To a point. But it's like this movie is very much a very human movie that has a lot of very subtle, because she gets really frustrated when she can tell people are acting. She's like, they don't even know each other. Their body language is terrible, but it's like good actors really make it feel, and then like a story with like a lot of subtext, it's like, oh, I can read into like these human emotions and infer that because of this, and that's like the other kind of deciphering it, instead of being like, you know, that's a symbolism for your consciousness, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right, exactly. Like an owl is on fire. The camera, like, what does that mean?
The guy with the camera, he's really just your guilty conscience trying to get, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Anyway.
No, yeah. I mean, that's what's great about this film. It tells a fantastic story that I will this will stick with me for sure. Like I already am like, what happened in Conclave? Like
I know.
I
just want to go watch every Philip Seymour Hoffman movie, man. He's definitely one of my favorite actors of all time, top 3 for sure. And I'm just
a gush, and like him in The Master with Amy Adams, whenever they're together,
so Amy Adams is fantastic too.
Amy Adams rules. Dude.
She's really good in this movie, but she's obviously overshadowed by these two giants.
Right,
but
she's fairly new too. Honestly, 2008 is kind of her when she's like cutting her teeth, and so it's like
for sure. And but she crushes too. But yeah, which
isn't that Arrival? Or no, Arrival's like 11, right? 11. Or
11, 12, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
something like that.
Arrival's where she like comes in swinging.
That's like the first big movie that I'm like, popping for me. But yeah, man. I don't know. Yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman, man, fucking everything, because. Trying to go through,
dude, his beard. Oh, he's so cool.
Well,
it was so funny. Like
you just reminded me earlier when you were talking about Ethan Hawke all wrapped up. I was like, the both of them as brothers, and Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, dude. I'm like,
Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. Hell yeah, baby.
So I just need to. I haven't seen every movie he's been in, so obviously I need to rectify that. And I haven't seen Capote yet, and so now this has just got me hankering to watch that more. So I'll definitely find a way in the coming months to find a way in that into future polls. So get ready to be voting for that.
I know, yeah, baby.
Anyway, so we've assumed that's Doubt. Go watch it, check it out. Moving on, we have fallen into the genre for the month, if you will, of being like, you know, filmmakers and like actors that have like died too soon, or not too soon, but like, you know, they hit hard or whatever. So obviously the other big one, I think you would ask a lot of people, the other big one is Robin Williams. That hit a lot of people pretty hard.
That was a surprise too.
That was a surprise. And so next week, we're doing Robin Williams. The poll's not over yet, but it looks like Birdcage is running away with it. So we'll probably
I'm excited for because I have seen it, but like it's been a long time, and I really liked it, and so he plays such a like random character. It's pretty cool. Like,
I want to
excited
see.
I'm excited to see how it ages too.
Yeah, it's been on my list for a long time. I really like Nathan Lane too. That the other guy in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, next week probably The Birdcage, Robin Williams. Check that out, and we'll be back next week to talk about that one. So get prepared. Go watch it. Check it out. And I don't know who the last week is going to be out, but probably some other dead person. So
support us on Patreon.
Yep.
I know. Yeah. But by the time we do this, it might be like Clint Eastwood or something.
I know. Who knows? No. As soon as this month ends, we're gonna get like 4 fucking dudes back to back or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's hope not.
Yeah.
No, don't say any more names because there's too many.
Yeah, fingers
there's
crossed.
too many
Everyone...
old greats that could just go at any moment.
I know. Yeah.
So
everyone's happy and healthy.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, they're all great. They're all fucking have the hearts of 30-year-olds.
Yeah. Right.
Anyway, so yeah, thank you. Who are you there
Everyone
for listening?
there.
And
Yeah. You and you and you.
You,
Thank you
there for listening. If you're on the YouTube, hello, goodbye. Thank you for being here. Patreons, we love you. We got to make 8-ball stickers.
8-ball sticker. And dude, I'm totally gonna make just like the cup of Drano.
Oh yeah, dude.
The table. That's a good.
Oh,
that's
we
a good
should
sticker.
get like those cups that have like the fake sides that are full of liquid, like the fake beer cups, but have just
dude.
like the Drano whiskey.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, bud. Cult of Sentiment Knowledge on the bottom.
Yeah, dude.
All right, I was buttoning it up. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.